Computer.
Who's Nicole down there?
Well, yeah, so first of all, I want to welcome everyone to our CFN HQ Hangout, where our new segment is actually me talking to members of our community because, I think it's important that we get to know these special people, especially the guests I have on today. So Nicole Roundsville, she's in the room right now also. She comes in and listens to all my talks. I absolutely love it because what we stopped doing is we stopped publicizing that we were doing these and we just post them because what we found was with too many people in the room, the quality of the actual recording was bad. And also, I never really had time to get to everyone's questions because I had so many, or the conversation was going so well. We didn't have a good time to stop and start asking questions. Yeah. So we figured we need to keep on doing this, but we were just changing the format. So we don't make a big show of it where 40, 50 people come in the room anymore. It's just but Nicole knows that I do this every Tuesday and Thursday, so she's on. And she's
fun. That's awesome. Good.
It's awesome. So I'm going to kind of introduce who we have today and what I know about her, and then we'll chat a little bit. So today I have a very special guest, Miss Kim Smith. And she is a 6 a.m. regular, and I think she's one of the only 6 a.m. regulars that the whole entire community actually knows. They know Kim Smith. It's crazy. And,
I don't know if that's good or bad, but go ahead.
and you guys will see the YouTube, but Kim Smith looks stunning today. And I said that unrecorded, so I wanted to make sure I said that again today. If anyone's been in a virtual class with her and seen her her screenshot or the screen share that she does when she logs on, it's a picture of her. It's a professional picture of her. That's exactly what she looks like right now live. It's crazy.
It's makeup and hair. That's all. I don't do makeup and hair before 6 a.m. That's all. That's the difference.
Also, I need a haircut. I need to look as good as you when I do these because people watch them. But I wanted to thank you for, I know you're super busy, and I wanted to thank you for being on today. I totally appreciate this.
It's my pleasure. I was honored that you asked, so thank you.
Totally. So now the next person maybe will feel honored that I asked them, because there's going to be a trend here with who I ask. And I wanted to start off by saying that Kim Smith is the only one left in our community that's been at CFN longer than I have.
Crazy, right? Isn't that nuts?
When did you first join, and how did you hear about it?
I don't know if you know this story, my origin story. So, I'm a runner, love to run, and I was doing a half marathon again years ago when I met Dr. Tom, and I was getting adjusted, and I was telling him I was training for 3 months to do the marathon, right? And he said, you really should try this new program we're starting called CrossFit. And Eric Perrone is going to run it and blah, blah, blah. And he said, you'll improve your time 100%. So for 3 months, just try it along with your training. So I did. And I tell you honestly, I shaved 8 minutes off my time, my half marathon time, which I was like, this is crazy. So we did so much core work, of course, the constantly varied, et cetera, everything that CrossFit is. But the core work really for me was the game changer for 3 months of training to do the half marathon again. So that was it.
Wow. What was your, do you remember your first workout when you came into the gym? Did you go through a foundations program or you just kind of came to class?
I remember the first one that was intensely painful. And I was thinking, I'm never doing CrossFit again. And here I am all these years later, doing thrusters. I think it was, which is the name? Nancy, maybe? I can't remember. Fran. It was Fran. And we did thrusters, and I literally couldn't move or walk. And I thought, I prided myself in being in great shape, but I was not in great shape. So.
Wow. Now, let me ask you this. Did you ever have Dr. Tom as a coach?
Yes. So there was a period.
Not many people know that he was a coach.
Oh, no, he was an awesome coach, actually. Awesome. I mean, it was a ridiculous double time for him to do both the chiropractic practice and CrossFit.
Yeah.
But he was doing and I've always been 6 a.m. There was a period in time that I left because of my daughter Hannah Smith's schedule for middle school when she was in 7th grade and went to Orange Theory for a year, and then came back to 6 a.m. because it was there is nothing like CrossFit in my professional opinion of wanting to always be forever fit.
Yeah.
My personal opinion is that there's nothing like CrossFit. So yes, I did have Tom. He was an awesome, awesome trainer. Really, really good.
You know what I think is a good idea? I think we should have Tom guest coach a class once a month or maybe once every 2 months.
Totally. And now with your virtual platform, he has no excuse. And here I said it on a recording.
Yeah, exactly. Like, we need to get him to do this. I want to see if he still has it in him.
He was good. You know who was in my class? Actually, you'll laugh. Kate's uncle, her uncle Chris. Yes.
Really?
He was in my class for a little while. So
how big were the classes back then? How many people in the class?
So honestly, they were really small to start because people just didn't know what it was. They weren't sure, you know, if they could do it, et cetera. But I remember there being like a handful of people, maybe like 4 or 5 in the class to start. And it included Kate's uncle. But then we had, you know, the Campbells, Aiden and Christy Campbell.
Yeah, I remember them.
She was committed to the 6 a.m. Class. So yeah, it's been great.
You know what's crazy to me, because I'm even though I coach more now with the virtual and the and Friends Lane Fitness going on, but over the years I've coached less and less. But what I still try to do is keep myself active in a 6 a.m., a mid-morning, and a p.m. right, because I like to still be involved in the community, right? I like to see what's going on. And here's what I'm noticing: each class has this setup where it's almost like this hierarchy and corporate organization within the class. And when I look at the 6 a.m., I look at you as one of the leaders of the 6 a.m. Like, do you consider yourself a leader of the 6 a.m.?
You know what's so funny? I just inherently, like, you learn a lot about yourself through your kids, right? So I see my kids and yes, I can't help myself from being a leader. I like to, and not in a, how do I say this right?
No.
My whole life, everyone says, like, you know, she just goes in and takes charge. Like, if I see something has to get done, I just start action and start doing something. So I'm just born this way, like hardwired to sort of see if there's something going on, and I want to sort of help and promote things to have like the best possible experience. So
definitely, and I don't mean leader in any negative sense of the term. I mean leader where if I needed to know something about the 6 a.m. or get a feel for something, I think I would come to you and ask what was going on.
So, you know, it's funny too. Another thing I think I pride myself in is like understanding people, like having a true empathy to get people. So I think that's a little bit of my personality. And again, you see yourself in your kids, because I totally see it in my daughter. She walks in and she just is like, she's just obvious. It's obvious that she's going to take charge and do something good.
You know what's funny? Isn't it crazy with kids, and I'm noticing this more and more now, is that no matter what you try to teach your children, like, 'cause sometimes you try to teach them to do something different than what you did, right? Because you're like, I didn't always do something right. But at the end of the day, they end up like you. They do.
No question. And, you know, I always say my biggest accomplishment and the thing I'm most proud of in all of my life is the people that I'm raising, you know, my 16 and 19-year-old kids, that they're really just nice people. And if that's at the end of the day, my, you know, mark on this world, I would love it to be that I raised 2 really great human beings.
How old are your kids, and where do they go to school?
So I have CJ, my son, oldest. He is 19. He'll be a sophomore at Temple University. I'm wearing the gear. You got to know. You got to see me when you see me at the gym.
Well, listen, I'm asking for everyone else. I know what they do. I'm asking you questions.
And then Hannah Smith, my daughter, is now, since she finished school on Friday, halfway through high school, and she'll be a junior at Notre Dame High School in Lawrenceville, New Jersey.
Wow, they're getting old. I remember CJ was a member of ours.
Yes, he loved it. He loved it. And he was running at the time because he ran all through high school. And then when he went to Temple, which is so fun, he tried out for the Ultimate Frisbee team. So he's on the Ultimate Frisbee team.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. You know, the Ultimate Frisbee thing, this is like an idea for my next guest. Ince's son is big into Ultimate Frisbee.
Yes, I know it. We talked about it.
Have they played against each other?
No. Where does he go? Where does Ince's son go?
Penn State.
No, they don't play against each other.
Okay.
Although CJ's like, because Temple's in the city, obviously they'll do Villanova and like schools around that where they do tournaments, but it's the club.
So you've been to some of those games.
Oh yeah.
So Ince brought me to one. It was a tournament at Mercer County College, And
Oh, cool.
I had never been to a game before. I didn't realize the singing, the chanting. Like I had no idea what a show it was. Have
It
you ever
is. It's a
experienced
whole,
that?
yeah, it's a whole situation, right? It's a whole,
Yeah.
it's so fun. I mean, I am like loving the opportunity for us to see our kids, you know, grow up, et cetera. I mean, obviously there's challenges, right? But
Uh-huh.
it's just been really fun to, for him to try a new sport in college, I think has been really amazing. So I'm proud of him for even putting himself out there to try.
Oh yeah, especially something that you're so unfamiliar with. You know, it's and to go out and try something
Totally.
is really, you know, it's taking it speaks a lot as far as someone's maturity.
Yeah, for sure.
Because
For sure. And, you know, I always think about this and like relate it back to CrossFit too. Like an unchallenged life is not worth living. If you're like not challenging yourself, what's the point? Like you're not really growing and getting to a better point of, personal development if you're not going to the next step. If everything's comfortable and easy, then you're not
exactly.
really doing, you'd have a
Yeah.
better, more fulfilled life if you're trying hard.
Oh yeah. What was your and again, Kim? I'm known for asking questions that totally change the topic because I'm curious.
Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first job you ever had?
Oh gosh. Like as a
Like
teenager?
when you started working, yeah. Where was your first job?
So my uncle owns a
Huh?
produce farm in Lawrenceville, New Jersey called Village Farms. I'm giving him a commercial because my daughter Hannah Smith works there now, but I worked as a high school student at my uncle's produce farm. And when I tell you there was a moment that I was picking beans, string beans with a big bushel basket once. And I was picking the beans and I'm like, this is backbreaking work. Like I am totally going to college. And then I realized that it was probably like ingenious for my parents to have me work at the farm because it really is hard work. But really the lesson that I learned from that first job um, was the cycle of life, like the true, he would have pigs that would eat the rotten produce. So like he wouldn't let things go to waste because he would feed it to the pigs, and the pigs were sold for slaughter in advance of getting them. So at the end of the summer, when the pigs were fattened in the fall, people would buy it. So my parents would get a pig. So we would have
Mm-hmm.
fresh meat from that, and a cow. He also did cows too. But it was really cool to sort of understand the hard work it takes to put food on the table. So that was a big lesson for me.
Do you think working there had given you lessons as far as how you carried yourself throughout the rest of your career?
For 100%. I mean, I think that you know the big picture. I think a farm lets you sort of see the big picture of things and how things have to collectively come together. Like, for example, and some things you can't control. So that was a big thing I learned from my uncle was weather. Like farmers are so dependent on weather that if it's like a rainy season, they're basically screwed. So they have to really depend on weather and like really pivoting and figuring things out. So I think that's something that I do now for like a ton of my coworkers.
Yeah.
They'll call me and they'll go, hey, this is what's up. Can you help me kind of have fresh thinking about this or like think differently about this? So I think that sort of like moment is I like a challenge and I like to be asked questions like that.
Yeah, you know what I see you as too. Now I'm trying to get Kim Smith back in high school, right?
Oh God.
And I'm painting the picture. You're working on this farm. You seem to know a lot about it, so that tells me that you probably worked hard and had a vested interest in it. Like you didn't want to do a shitty job. You're like,
Well,
I want to do a good job, and you're thinking like things you're dealing with now. You look back at it and think like you can relate back to it. Like, I do this now because I learned some foundational lessons then. So then I'm wondering, like, when you're in high school and you have to do group projects, people hate group projects. I bet you were the best person to have in a group project.
yeah. So I'm telling you, I actually love people, period. So this whole pandemic has been very difficult for me socially, that I'm not with people in all walks of my life, my family, I've seen my one sister, but I haven't seen my other sister or my parents. So I've been trying to like figure out a way, to see them safely, et cetera. But anyway, so I like a group project. Like we just had something at work. I constantly need my skills of like learning things, but we just had a big Knoll Design Days, which is a show we usually do in Chicago, but we had to translate it to the virtual world. So talk about new learning. I mean, like getting a totally new format, doing really powerful programming of getting like great designers to speak to the our customers and clients. And we had over like 17,000 people for the event. It was outrageous. But my part was a team. I had to present with the team, and I had 2 presenters with me, and it was so fun, like pulling it together. They even are like sending notes and saying, "Oh, it's sad it's over," you know, because you know what? If you're going to be doing something, like give it your all.
Yeah.
Work really hard, and you like make it the best you can make it for all reasons, right?
Yeah.
Not just because you want to be proud of your work, but also you want to enjoy your experiences and enjoy every moment. So I really like to sort of turn things into a way of making that work.
Yeah, I think you're the type of person that enjoys the process.
Totally.
You enjoy the process, and we skipped into a glimpse of actually what you do for a living now. But what do you do for a living?
Yeah. So I went to college. I went to college as an interior designer. And I worked in corporate real estate for a while for Merrill Lynch as a project manager for many years. And then I switched to when CJ was a baby, actually. So I've been at Knoll for a long time. So Knoll's a modern design company, and I work in the workplace research team. So we do as a workplace strategist. So we work with customers in, you know, ideating and realizing what a workspace can do from an environmental perspective to draw people in, have them have comfortable, supportive work environments. So I talk a lot about workplace.
Wow, that's so interesting.
Yeah. It's fun. My job is fun, and the company I work for is really super progressive. So there's always like, you know, high design in mind. So there's always like, you know, forward thinking. So it makes me feel that I'm always having to be, because people look to our group, the workplace research group, to really be as relevant as possible in guiding them toward like what might be next. So it's been crazy.
So are we down to everything as far as like these types of chairs, these types of wall colors, like this is how like the office should be. They should be the interior. Here's what the cubicles should be like and this is going to enhance their productivity, their willingness to work there, coming to work. Like, tell me, like, is there some common trend? Like, what are you guys talking about?
Well, right now we're really talking about the phases of the pandemic. So at first it was, you know, like a surviving phase, right? Like we're all in survival mode right now, figuring it out. Next, we think is going to be arriving. So we're going to be arriving to the workplace, and what kind of things are we going to have to adapt, add, or change to make people feel safe and comfortable in a work environment until there's a vaccine. And then beyond that, you know, a thriving workplace. Like, what have we learned? Like, not just take what we've learned or just get back to what we had, but take what we learned and modify environments. Because we know that since people have figured out in this big, you know, it's been almost like a pilot program, like a global pilot program of working from home. So what people realized who said, oh, I can't work from home, they've had to. So what they learned, they don't want to lose. So if you could have a hybrid moving forward of some work from home for like heads down focus stuff, and then being with your community, your work community, to collaborate, to meet, to do what you have to do to support your company and your culture, that's going to be what's next. So technology is going to be enormously important. We're going to see hybrid spaces that have monitors, cameras, microphones, the whole sort of technological setup. That's all going to get beefed up on steroids, if you will. And then, because you're going to have a balance, you're going to have like some people that might not be comfortable until there's a vaccine going in. So that, and maybe they have someone who is, maybe they have someone who's elderly that lives with them, whatever their personal reason. There's been so much complexity to all this. So that's what we've been talking about with our customers. I mean, big customers like major financial people, major mortgage companies, major advertising companies. I mean, you name it, we talk to them at Knoll. So it's fun. I just can't wait to get back.
So what does, I mean, I don't know if this is proprietary information, you can't talk about it, but what does, I mean, we don't really know what arriving will look like yet, right? Because things are changing every single day. But what is it starting to look like for you guys besides technology? How about, like, is there physical safety measures that you're like, you guys are going to need these kind of walls or these kind of glasses between cubicles, or like,
Totally. Well, it even starts before that. It starts with transportation, like getting people to a work environment. That's a concern. And then, like a vertical transportation, which is elevators, right? So let's say you work for Comcast in Philly, who we work with all the time. But let's say you worked with them and you can't get people to the 53rd floor in the new technology tower. That's a problem. So they're really trying to figure out what's up and how to get people there safely. And then
people are going to have to be fitter and walk the stairs.
That's what I said. I was like, yeah.
Challenge.
Well, that is a strategy that some people are imploring, which is in lower height buildings. Like if you have a 4-story, 5-story, 6-story building, you can easily do that. You can make the elevator up one way and down one way for the stairs. So that's something that we talk with people about too. But it just is a lot of my work as a workplace strategist in research is very consultative, but giving ideas constantly, constantly thinking about what people can do to utilize their space, maximum utilization of their space.
I would like to see what it's like to walk up 53 flights of stairs.
Yeah. So we did it once with, we did 50 floors once for some charity in Philly, but it was cool. I mean, it takes more than you think.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
50 floors.
Yeah, it definitely does. But I'm looking at this at this pandemic as a way to refocus people's energy on their health, right? And I'm thinking corporations should do the same because paying attention to your employer's health is also going to be important. It is.
You know what's interesting about that? You want to model the behavior you want to see. So you always want to do things that are great. And I consider myself a healthy person, of course, want to be forever fit. That's always my goal.
Oh, yeah.
But lately in this pandemic, I'm sitting so much more than I ever have in front of this camera. So I'm finding at the end of the day that I need 9 or 10 hours of sleep. Yeah. I am physically exhausted after doing, and my average, and I'm not saying this to brag about the number of Zooms I do, but it's really unhealthy, between 10 and 12 every day. It's outrageous. In fact, I have someone texting me because I was supposed to jump in his Zoom room at 1:45. So I will.
I'll have you there. I'll have you there.
All right, cool.
I'll have you there. Okay?
What other pressing questions?
Yeah. Hold on. I did want to talk a little bit because what's unique to Kim Smith is she has this secret dragon boat club. All right. And I just need to know. So here's what I need to know what dragon boating is, right? Yeah. And I need to know what your involvement has been in it. So give me a little story about dragon boating.
Yeah, so my little secret organization has more than 125 people. So let's see, how many years ago? I guess it's going on 12 years ago. One of my friends, I was on the board at Crossing Co-op Nursery School when my daughter Hannah was there. And one of my friends asked me, I guess it's 13 years then if Hannah's 16. One of my friends asked me to dragon boat in Philly for this festival. And I was like, what's dragon boat? Like you, right? So it's a long boat that fits 20 paddlers, and there's a drummer in the front and a steers person in the back. So there's 22 people on a boat, and you race at festivals, and they're in Philadelphia. It was, at the time we joined, it was the fastest growing sport in the US. So you're seeing dragon boat teams pop up. But years ago, we actually approached the Landing restaurant and what's the name of the breakfast place? Fred's. I couldn't think of it. Fred's in the Landing, and asked the owners if we could dock and get a boat and practice there, because we were going down to Philly, and that was a little bit of a schlep. But the first year we were the novice women's champs in the novice division. So we all got a little bit, full of ourselves, thinking we're good at this. So we decided that we were going to continue. So it's been amazing. It's grown. I am the captain of one of the women's boats. Yeah, see, I'm telling you, it's hardwired. I can't help it. And I'm also the gear girl. So I designed the logo and did all of the gear for all this time. So, they tapped into any talent they could at that time to see who could do what. So I did that. And so now I continue to be the gear person for everyone, which is easier now electronically because we set up a site and people go in and choose what they want to buy. But it's really great. This year, obviously, because of the pandemic, we have been sideswiped like every other organization. And unfortunately, very difficult to social distance. But when we get to green, which we're hopeful is happening soon, we will get back on the boat. We will have to wear masks. That'll be part of our sort of arrangement, and probably do half. So we'll do like 10 people on a boat instead of 20 at a time. But all the festivals, unfortunately, were canceled this year. But it's just so fun. It's a great community. We do fundraising for pediatric cancer. So we're really involved with fundraising for the community. And our boat is in New Hope. So we're, great community members to the New Hope town.
How many days a week do you have to commit to that?
So it's half the year. So it's 6 months out of the year. So really from April to October. And then it's, for our boat, it's once a week, but for other boats, the boat I used to be on, is twice a week. So Sundays and Thursdays for that boat. That was the premier women's boat. But I decided that with my work schedule and traveling, I couldn't commit twice. So we created a boat that's considered the community boat that only practices once and does 2 races a year, where the other boats do at least 4 festivals a year and practice twice a week.
Kim Smith, your life gives me anxiety.
You know what? I'm just in perpetual motion, honey. You don't even know. I'll tell you a really funny thing. My daughter asked me to, my poor husband, like, God bless Clem, right? But my daughter asked me to teach CCD at our church, religious education at our church a couple years ago. So we also do that. So when I tell you our life is absolutely insane, not to mention all the sports, et cetera.
Out of everything I got out of this conversation, this makes me want to go back in time and live in the Smith's household. Okay, I just want to live there for a little bit and just observe all of this, all the moving pieces. Because Clem is such a quiet guy.
He's so chill. Well, that's what makes it work, right? I swear to God. I walk in sometimes and he's like, it's so funny. One day, him and CJ are sitting on the couch, and we come walking in. Me and Hannah are the same sort of Tasmanian devil. And we walk in, and Clem goes, "Hold on, CJ, here they come." Like, then he has to like brace himself.
Yeah, it's about to happen. Let's just prepare for this. Wow.
I can't help it. You have to be enthusiastic about life, right? And make the most of it. Like, every day you wake up and it's like you have another opportunity to have a great day or prove yourself, and just
you really, really do. And I could say this on behalf of probably all the coaches and myself, that you've been a fantastic member of our community. And that's one of the reasons that I wanted to talk to you, because not only have you been there so long, but you've been such a positive influence on the whole community. And like, I've never heard one bad thing, not even a bad thing, even a negative connotation about Kim Smith ever. Like,
you're funny. That's so sweet. I'll tell you, you guys really when I texted you on that Sunday, I'll remember, and offered my Zoom room for the classes. I mean, you guys really pivoted and changed and showed that you could be very dynamic. And it's been amazing. Honestly, it's really truthfully gotten me through the pandemic. I mean, without it, I just wouldn't be as mentally balanced, and all of the things that, obviously physically too, because then I'm sitting afterwards.
I appreciate that. And I always try to give the coaches the feedback we're getting from people and and I know you guys tell them also. But I mean, we wanted to do this because of people. Like, we have so many people like you in our community that it's like, how could we not want to do something for you guys? Because there's so many places that did nothing.
And I also think of like the amazing opportunity for you moving forward is that you should offer virtual. I mean, at the end of the day, people like me who do travel a lot for work, it'd be great if I could Zoom in from Boston and do it from the hotel in Boston, because there's a full gym and equipment. I just have to bring my Zoom down, and that's easy on any mobile device. So I think that
wherever you go.
At the end of the day, right? I'd be in like amazing shape, because then I'm going to be back to buzzing around the universe more often. So I can't wait till that happens.
Well, listen, I'm glad that you took this time to talk to me today. I know you're super busy, so I'm totally appreciative of it.
Yeah.
But so I guess this is me saying I will see you tomorrow at virtual. Maybe.
You got it. I mean, you got it. All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Kim. Appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
Have a great day.
All right.
Be well.
All right. Bye-bye.